Imagine following the same routine from day to day. Every morning you eat the same breakfast, go to the same school, and complete the same homework. But one day, everything changes. That's exactly what happened to me. 2 years ago, due to the full-scale war in Ukraine, I was forced to emigrate to Sweden and start attending Stockholm International School. As I stood in front of the whole class of unfamiliar people, thousands of thoughts were running through my head. Indian, Chinese, Korean, and other teens from around the world stared at me, waiting for my introduction. I wasn't familiar with the International Middle Years program. I was terrified to meet new people, study, and be graded in English. And I could barely understand my new classmates' accents. I felt like a fish out of water, trying to find the right classroom in different buildings. I was forced to face the dreadful feeling of unfamiliarity. Does that sound relatable to you? Do you have difficulty falling asleep at night due to the flow of thoughts about the future? I want to assure you, you are not alone. Even the boldest have experienced relentlessness, trembling, and tensity before some important event or unexpected situation. According to the global analytics firm Gallup, in 2021, 4 in 10 adults worldwide said they experienced a lot of worry or stress. But the question is, how to overcome the fear? During my stay in Sweden, my mind was constantly filled with what-ifs and intrusive thoughts about my first impression and possible school failures. I struggled with forcing myself to attend classes every morning. As I wanted to overcome my fear, I began researching the topic, and reading through yet another psychological book, I came across a crucial insight. Every time we face fear before some event, it isn't due to the event itself, but the uncertainty we encounter. And that uncertainty is called the fear zone. So I want to introduce you to the image. The circle on the left is called the comfort zone. Everyone's comfort zone varies in size depending on your previous experience and knowledge. It's a safe place. Everything that brings you ease and coziness. A comfort zone is a state where you can easily predict a solution to every situation without your brain worrying about possible unpleasant outcomes. For me, it was studying in the Ukrainian school and being surrounded by the same community for almost 8 years. As a refugee, I was forced to face new cultures, curriculum, and educational system. This was a driving force leading me to the learning zone of dealing with a challenge and acquiring new skills. To enter the learning zone, I overcame fear, something that made me doubt my knowledge, find excuses, and panic about having to study 6 subjects per day in English. You'll need to bridge all of these stages when facing difficult life situations. So, how to overcome the fear zone and enter the learning and growth zones? First, set a clear goal. Our brain is programmed to complete only tasks that bring us benefits, so visualize your goals. Let's try the 5 senses technique. We'll use sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing. Let's start. Define your goals. For example, getting into your dream university. What can you see around you? What are you doing? What can you smell? What can you hear around you? And finally, how do you feel after achieving your goal? Happy, relieved, or contented? As you're motivated to step into the learning zone, let's work on overcoming your fear. Define your worries and think about the worst scenarios. Ask yourself, what happens when I face the scariest outcome? I was terrified at being laughed at by my classmates, but what if it really happened? Eventually, I concluded that I could always find like-minded individuals outside the school or even change educational institutions. I wondered, maybe it isn't as bad as I imagined. Then, start taking baby steps in the learning zone. To overcome my fear of communicating with classmates and facing an unfamiliar curriculum, I set milestones. Every day, I'd learn one new concept and talk to one new person. 2 years ago, I graduated from Stockholm International School. Overcoming my fear zone, I improved my speaking, reading, and writing English, made long-lasting connections with like-minded peers, and adapted to the changes. I learned to set clear goals, taking small steps. I entered the growth zone. So the next time you find yourself constantly overthinking about the outcomes of your choices and stressing, remember, just act.